Hello and welcome back to another pull list. This is my weekly edited video looking at the books I'm picking up next week. Here we're on Thursday, November 5th. We're looking ahead next week to Wednesday, the 11th. What books are going to be coming out? I've got a weekly edited video and you're here watching it. This is mind-blowing. The world has clearly flipped. Welcome to 2020. But if you want to know what books are coming out on November the 11th, stick around. Lots of big books dropping this week, but for me, it's about Marvel. I've got count them, three books that I'm picking up at Marvel, plus I got a Yellow Light book that I might look into. The three books I'm getting are all the Ten of Swords issues. Ten of Swords is past the midway point. This week we're on issues 14, 15, and 16 of this 22-issue epic, which means we're getting into that three-quarters place. This week the first book that drops is Marauders. I almost said the wrong one. Marauders, issue number 15. The cover for this is kind of interesting. So cover A, it's right here, has this the villainess poisoning Game of Thrones kind of vibe going on. Is something going on with alcoholic beverages on the X titles this week? This is very curious, and I'm curious to see what that means for the issue, because I thought we'd be getting into the one-on-one battles, but this seems like maybe something devious is going on in the background. There's a really great variant with Storm on the cover that I think is really cool. I don't know if that's going to be one that's in shops or if that's one that you got to hunt around for online, but that's a beautiful piece of art for sure. I've been enjoying this run a ton. Marauders is probably the most consistent book that they've got in all the X titles. I just know this is going to be something fun. The second book is Excalibur. This is issue 14. Whew, this cover A has me it hits me in the feels. I'm a big fan of the character Cypher, who is his mutant power is languages. He can translate, so he speaks for the island and all these other people. He has been sort of melded with Warlock as a living weapon that he's going to use as his sword. And he has to fight in this Ten of Swords, but everybody knows he's not a fighter. So what is that going to mean? This cover for me, cover A, captures all of that. All these heroes standing behind him, just sort of like head down, like this guy's going to lose. He's going to get just beat. So wow, what a great underdog story. I'm really excited to see what this issue does. This could be one of the best issues, heartbreaking or uplifting. I don't know what's going to happen, but this sounds like it's going to be a big issue. There's some variants, but for me it's all about this cover A. The cover A is really, really great. The third book in the Ten of Swords this week is Wolverine, which always has a ton of variants. There's a Del Otto variant I'm going to start you off with here because that Del Otto variant is fire. It is gorgeous. It almost looks like it's done with chalk. It's just beautiful. But yeah, all the covers look cool. Wolverine gets generally the best covers. I'm not sure that I'm loving it as well as I am the covers, but it's been a pretty solid book, and I will say the previous issue, issue 6, was one of the best. So I'm hopeful that this could be something big. Does Wolverine finally get to fight? I don't know. Another cover this week with X characters and alcohol, and I don't know, is this going to be a theme in these three issues? Poisoning? Is someone going to get poisoned? Very curious about what this means, all the backstabbing that's going on in the background here. So those are my three guaranteed green light pickups for Marvel. Let's take a look at a Yellow Light. There is a new #1 from Marvel this week. It's Taskmaster, issue 1. The classic villain who is hopefully coming to theaters again here soon for the, I should say not again, for the first time, is getting his own comic. Issue #1, this mini-series. I'm very curious about what this will mean. The talent behind this, I've never heard of most of them. So that doesn't inspire a lot of trust. But if you love this character, if you're a big fan of Taskmaster, this might be an issue to pick up and take a look at. So that's it for Marvel for me. That one Yellow Light and then my 3 X books, that's it. Let's jump over to DC. As usual, I've only got one DC green light this week. It's pretty much my way where I have one DC book a week, and this week it's Detective Comics 1030. I got issue 1029, which I think I would give like an 8 out of 10. It was a solid first issue of a new story, new villain. I'm interested in what's going to happen with this storyline. I think I'm going to stick with it for at least this storyline. The Mirror is this interesting villain who wants to unmask all the heroes in Gotham so that the citizens have more control over what these heroes are doing. I'm curious about how that will play out, and I have a lot of curiosity, so I think that's a good thing. I'm going to definitely get this issue, second issue in the storyline. Next up would be Hawkman 29, the end of a really amazing run. I think it's pronounced Venditti. The writer behind this has been doing a great job. I've read the first story arc digitally, and I'm working my way through it. So issue 29 is the end of this sort of epic Hawkman run, the only Hawkman I've ever read. So I know a lot of big Hawkman fans, and a lot of people who follow this channel have been telling me about how much they love this story and how sad they are that it's ending. So this is the end. This is the final issue. A bunch of people are going to be after it. The variants are always great. So look at that beautiful piece. I'm probably not going to buy it. I'm just going to keep reading it digitally, but I will say that I definitely would give this a green light if I was fully caught up on it. I'm just, I'm like 20 issues back. So I've got a ton of good reading ahead of me digitally on that DC Universe app. Or DC, what's it called? Is it the DC app? I just call it the DC app. There you go, the DC app. I have one other DC Yellow Light, and it's a cover buy because I saw this cover for Green Lantern Season 2, Issue 9, and I was like, dude, that is such a phenomenal throwback cover. I love everything about this cover. It almost makes me want to start reading Green Lantern. It's such a hilarious sort of mock of that style, that Silver Age style of Green Lantern cover. So I thought this was great. I had to share it with you. So if you're a Green Lantern fan, that might be cover A that you want to snag. I'm going to definitely glance at it just because this cover is so eye-catching. I almost made it my thumbnail. It was so good. So if you're a Green Lantern fan or you like Silver Age books, you might want to check out Green Lantern issue 9. That's it for DC. Let's move on to some indies. For me, it's mostly just Boom Studios. We Only Find Them When They're Dead issue 3. And I have been curious about this book because I'm not yet interested in the characters at this point. I love the art. I love the idea. I'm just waiting for the characters to really hook me with their stories. So hopefully issue 3 is really the one, because if not, I might drop it. I know other people are in love with this book, and I do have a lot of things I like about it. I just want the characters to draw me in. So hopefully this issue does it. The variants are killer. I really dig the art style. I can't say enough about how cool the look of this world is. And it's got a lot of potential. I just want the characters to be as good as everything else. So I'm getting that one. The other one is an IDW book I mentioned last week that got delayed. For those that don't know, IDW and a few other publishers have their books published overseas in Asia, which can cause delays if there's a shipping problem or a printing problem. So Scarent Hood got pushed a week. It actually now drops this coming week, the 11th. This is issue number 1, and now we've got a variant cover I can show you as well. I like this concept of preschool parents who are dropping their kids off and then going to fight demons and things. I love the art style on the covers, so I'm definitely going to give this a green light. It's a book that I'm curious about just based on the title, so I'm going to grab issue 1. That leaves my Yellow Light. My Yellow Light's from Aftershock, which has been doing some cool stuff lately. And they have a book called Miss Catatonic, issue 1. And it's kind of a throwback to like noir detective stuff. It takes place in the J. Edgar Hoover days and a mysterious town that's very Stephen King-like with all kinds of weird oddities going on. And this female detective who goes there to try to solve a crime. So if you like noir detective stories with a little bit of sci-fi horror elements in the background, this might be a book you want to check out. I didn't really have any connections to the writers and artists of the book, but just the concept and some of these cool variants, they're not here, they're over there, are kind of fun. So I thought, you know what, this is definitely a book that I want to at least take a look at the interior artwork as well. So it gets a Yellow Light. If the interior artwork is good enough, I'm just going to grab that and add that to my pull. So that means a total of 6 green lights, 3 from Marvel, 1 from DC, 1 Boom, and 1 from IDW, plus a yellow light that's probably going to be a green light from Aftershock, and then a couple others that I might look at from the various DC Marvel publishers. What are you picking up? I loved all your comments last week. So many people telling me about great books they're getting and why they're picking them up. So stuff that I can add to future pull list episodes. Huge appreciation for those of you that have been enjoying this and leaving me comments here on Instagram about how much you're enjoying this, because I've never really been able to consistently drop an edited video. So this is a new world for me, and those of you joining me, those 100 and so of you watching every week, I really appreciate you taking the time. As always, I hope to see you back here next week for another pull list.